It's 7:45 a.m. You are already running late. You have asked your son to put on his shoes 3 times. Leo, shoes please. Nothing. He doesn't even blink. It's like he is deaf. Leo, we have to go. Put your shoes on. Still nothing. It's like there is an invisible wall between your voice and his ears. You feel that heat rising in your chest. Your patience snaps. Leo, shoes. Now. And suddenly he moves. He scrambles. He listens. And in that moment, you feel 2 things. First, relief, because finally he is listening. But second, you feel that sinking guilt. You think, why do I have to turn into a monster just to get him to listen? Why is he so stubborn? Why does he ignore me until I explode? If you are nodding your head, I need you to know something important. Your child isn't ignoring you because they are defiant. They aren't ignoring you because they don't respect you. They are suffering from a biological phenomenon neuroscientists call attentional tunneling. And the way you are trying to break through that tunnel, by repeating yourself and getting louder, is actually training their brain to ignore you more. In this video, we are going to look inside your child's developing brain to see why they genuinely cannot hear you the first time. We are going to look at the MRI data on what yelling actually does to a child's nervous system. And most importantly, I'm going to give you a clinically proven, true-step method to get first-time obedience without ever raising your voice again. Welcome to the Kids Growth Lab. Let's decode the science of listening. To understand why your child ignores you, we have to stop looking at them like miniature adults. You have to look at their hardware. See, the adult brain is a master of integration. You have a fully developed prefrontal cortex, the CEO of the brain. This allows you to multitask. You can stir the pasta, listen to a podcast, keep an eye on the clock, and hear your phone buzz all at the same time. You can switch your attention instantly to your child's brain. It doesn't work like that yet. It's the prefrontal cortex, responsible for shifting attention and executive function. It doesn't finish developing until the mid-20s. Children are biologically monotaskers. When a child is engaged in play, let's say they are building a Lego tower, their brain enters a state of deep cognitive flow. Their neurons are firing rapidly to solve spatial problems. In this state, their brain literally dampens or turns down the volume on sensory input that isn't related to the tower. This is called auditory filtering. To them, your voice saying, "Put on your shoes," isn't a command. It blends in with the hum of the refrigerator, the traffic outside, or the dog barking. It is just background noise. So when you stand in the kitchen and yell to them in the living room, you aren't fighting their attitude, you're fighting their biology. They literally did not process what you said. But here's the dangerous trap parents fall into. You say it once, no response. You say it twice, no response. You say it a 3rd time, a little louder. Still nothing, so you yell. And this is where the nagging cycle begins. When you finally explode and yell, "Put your shoes on," you have changed the input channel. You're no longer sending a logical request to their prefrontal cortex. You have just sent a threat signal directly to their amygdala. The amygdala is the brain's smoke detector. It's responsible for survival. Fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. When you yell, your child's brain floods with cortisol, the stress hormone, and adrenaline. Their body goes into survival mode. They freeze. They look at you. They grab the shoes. Now you might think, well, it worked. They put the shoes on. But here's what really happened. They didn't listen because they understood the importance of being on time. They didn't listen because they learned responsibility. They obeyed out of fear. Here's the neuroscience catch. A brain in survival mode cannot learn. When the amygdala is activated, the logic center of the brain shuts down. So, while you got the shoes on today, you didn't teach them the skill of getting ready. You just hacked their panic system. This creates 2 long-term problems. First, habituation. If you yell every day, their brain eventually gets used to the threat. The smoke detector stops going off. You have to yell louder and louder just to get the same reaction. Second, you are accidentally training your child that the first 3 times you speak, it's optional. You are teaching them that mom is just engaging in background noise. I don't actually have to move until her voice hits this specific decibel level. You have trained them to wait for the scream. So how do we penetrate that focus bubble without triggering the fear response? We use a technique often used by occupational therapists to help children with sensory processing differences. I call it the connection switch method. It has 3 non-negotiable steps. If you skip one, it won't work. Step 1. Close the geographic gap. This is the golden rule. Never give a command from another room. If you are in the kitchen and they are in the bedroom, your words are just air. You are setting yourself up to be ignored. Stop washing the dishes. Stop scrolling on your phone. Physically walk over to where they are. Yes, it takes 10 seconds of effort, but it saves you 20 minutes of fighting. Step 2. The physical bridge. Before you say a single word, and this is crucial, touch them. Put a hand on their shoulder. Gently touch their arm. Why? Because tactile sensation travels faster to the brain than auditory input. That gentle touch sends a signal to their brain that says, pause the Lego program, new input is coming. It manually switches their attention from the toy to you, without the shock of a scream. Step 3. The eye-level whisper. Now that you are close, and you are touching them, do not yell. Do the opposite. Get down to their eye level. Make sure you can see the color of their irises, and then whisper, hey, look at my eyes. It's time to put on your shoes. Why whispering? Evolutionarily, a yell pushes people away. It signals danger, but a whisper pulls people in. To hear a whisper, the human brain has to lean in and focus intensely. It creates curiosity. You are using their biology to capture their attention, rather than demanding it. Now, let's say you've done the connection switch. You whispered. They looked at you, but they are still sitting there. This brings us to one of the most misunderstood parts of child brain development: processing speed. Think of nerves like electrical wires. In an adult brain, these wires are coated in a thick, fatty substance called myelin. This insulation allows signals to travel from your brain to your body at lightning speed. But in a child's brain, that myelin is still being built. This means their processing speed is literally slower than yours. When you say put on your shoes, their brain has to decode the language, map out the steps, and send the signal to their muscles. Research shows this loop can take a child 3 to 7 seconds. But what do most parents do? We wait 1 second. Put your shoes on. Silence. I said shoes. By interrupting them, you interrupt the download. You effectively reset their processing clock back to 0. So here is the challenge. After you make your request using the connection switch, I want you to count to 8 in your head. It will feel like an eternity. Just wait. Look at them kindly. You will be shocked at how often, right around second 5 or 6, they suddenly move. They just needed the time to download the file. Now, there is one scenario where even the whisper method struggles, and that is when a screen is involved. If your child ignores you when the TV is on, you're dealing with a chemical hijack called the dopamine lock. Video games and cartoons are designed to flood the brain with dopamine. When you suddenly say, turn it off, dinner time, you are causing a sudden massive drop in dopamine. This feels physically painful to their brain. To fix this, we need to build a bridge. We call this joining the world. Before you give the command to stop, enter their world for 30 seconds. Sit next to them. Watch the screen. Ask a question about it. Wow, that's a fast car. Is that the bad guy? Wait for them to answer. The moment they answer you, they have bridged the gap between the screen world and the real world. Their brain has reconnected with you. Then, and only then, you say, okay, pause the game. It's time for dinner. You will get 90% less resistance because you didn't shock their system. You transitioned it. What if they still don't listen? This brings us to autonomy. Remember, toddlers and preschoolers are biologically driven to seek independence. When you say, put on your shoes, that is a command. The instinctual response to a command is resistance. So, we swap the command for a question. We call this the Jeopardy rule. Instead of saying, put on your shoes, try saying, what do you need to put on your feet so we can go to the park? When you give a command, their brain is passive. When you ask a question, their brain has to wake up. They have to process the answer and generate the solution themselves. When they come up with the answer, they are 10 times more likely to do it because it feels like their idea, not your order. I want to end with something realistic. You are human. You're tired. And sometimes, despite knowing all the neuroscience, you are going to lose it. You are going to yell. And then the guilt will set in. You'll think I've damaged their brain. I've ruined the connection. You haven't? In psychology, we call this rupture and repair. A relationship isn't built on perfection. It's built on repair. If you yell, wait until you are calm, and go to your child and say this exact phrase. I lost my temper. Shouldn't have yelled. That was scary. I am sorry. Ty will try to use my calm voice. This teaches them emotional regulation and removes the fear. So here's your homework for the next 24 hours. Pick one struggle. Maybe it's shoes, maybe it's brushing teeth. Commit to not yelling for that one task. Use the connection switch. Walk over. Touch, whisper, and wait. Watch how their brain responds differently. You aren't just getting them to listen, you are building a brain that knows how to listen. If you found this helpful, subscribe to the Kids Growth Lab for more neuroscience-backed parenting. And if your child does listen, but then melts down because they don't want to do what you asked, that is a different problem. That is a tantrum. Click this video right here to learn the Korean method to stop tantrums in 60 seconds. This is the Kids Growth Lab, and remember, stop shouting, start connecting.